So in this video, I want to talk about 20 things that I do not buy or pay for. And the things that are on this list are kind of all over the place as far as categories are concerned, and they could be on this list for a number of reasons. It could be for my minimalism ideals, it could be to save money, it could be for ethical reasons, it could be for environmental reasons. But what they all have in common is that they're things that I've decided that are not worth my time, my attention, my money, and not things that I generally want to support. And so without any further ado, let's get into the video. So the very first thing that I don't buy is fast food. And when I say I don't buy fast food, I mean it in the obvious sense of like not buying McDonald's or Burger King, but I also mean it in the sense of just not buying generally highly processed, convenience-based food or not buying food out when I have perfectly good food in the fridge. Drive-through, fast food, Uber Eats, what I call microwavable bullshit, you know, those like pizza pops and things you take out of the freezer and stick in the toaster oven and they become like this pile of greasy sludge. I don't eat any of those things and I don't pay for any of those things. I don't buy any of those things. And the reason is multifaceted. So the obvious one is for health reasons. I find that when I do eat, takeaway food or crappy, greasy food, I just feel terrible. My skin breaks out. I feel sluggish and I'm generally not satiated by the food. I don't feel full. I just kind of stop eating when I get grossed out of what I'm eating and decide I can't stomach it any longer. But over and above that, I think people underestimate how expensive those types of foods are. I think that there's a misconception that fast food is cheap, that going to the drive-thru and getting a burger and fries and a pop is cheap. But it's really not. Like a fast food meal nowadays can be well over $10, closer to $15. If I'm coming home late from work and I'm really hungry, I'll come home and I'll throw together a fast meal, but I do not hit the drive-thru. And in that same line of thought, the second thing that I don't buy is coffee from out of the house. Places like Starbucks and Tim Hortons and all that are just not my thing. I just find it to be an extremely big waste of money. I think that their coffee is way overpriced and I think it's a really inferior product. For the cost of one Starbucks latte, I can buy enough coffee beans to last me for several months at home and I can make a much better cup of coffee or latte or cappuccino or iced cap or whatever it is that I feel like having. I can make it way better. And in all honesty, I think that Starbucks tastes like shit. It tastes like burnt shit. And so I just go home and I make my coffee there and I save like 98% by doing it. The third thing that I no longer buy is clothing with big logos on it. There was a point when I was much younger, like when I was in high school, where I was really into buying, clothing that had certain branding across the chest. In my case, it was predominantly like skateboard brands or things like that. I'd have shirts that say like Vans or Billabong or whatever. And I decided to start moving away from those things, shortly after I left high school for a number of reasons. First and foremost is I just find that, in my personal opinion, it looks immature. It just looks tacky and, it makes you look like a little kid. And I already have that problem enough. I just think it makes you look a little bit untidy and immature and not so put together. But over and above that, I started thinking about the fact that when you're wearing a shirt that has like a big logo blasted across the front of it, you're essentially a walking billboard for that company. If I'm going to walk around with like, Gap plastered across my chest, the Gap should be paying me for that. Like, why am I paying them to be a walking advertisement for their brand? It doesn't make a lot of sense. And so between the aesthetic part and like this philosophical idea that I had about it, I just decided that I didn't want to wear logoed clothing or graphic t-shirts anymore. The only exceptions to that are occasionally you might find me in like a band t-shirt or a shirt that's advertising like a particular charitable cause, usually an animal rights organization. I'm happy to use a shirt to promote something I actually want to promote. I just don't have any interest in promoting like Vans or the Gap or anything like that. And once again, on somewhat of a similar wavelength, the fourth thing that I don't buy are status symbols. And this is a bit of an interesting one because what somebody considers a status symbol will differ from person to person. What I may consider a status symbol, someone else may consider a necessity and vice versa. But to me, status symbols are things that you buy just because everybody else has them or just because you want to be seen with them. And in my case, that would include things like an Apple Watch, a luxury vehicle, expensive jewelry, things that to me don't serve an inherently functional purpose, but only exist to be seen by others. A Honda will always get you from A to B just as fast and just as efficiently as a Mercedes will, and I'm honestly just not into impressing other people. So I buy the things that I like, I buy the things that are functional, but I don't buy things just to show off to others because why would you do that? Item number 5 that I don't buy or pay for are subscription services. I've actually made an entire separate video about why I don't subscribe to different services, which I will link up here and in the description box down below. So by all means, check out that video if you haven't yet. But when I say I don't buy subscription services, I mean everything. I mean, I don't have Netflix, I don't have Hulu, I don't have Amazon Prime, I don't have Spotify, I don't have cable TV. I just don't see the need for any of these things, quite honestly. I think that the marketing aspect of it is really seedy. I think that, they bleed you dry financially, but disguise it as only $5 or $10 or $20 at a time, so you're supposed to not notice. I just think that they're generally a deficit to both your financial and your mental health. Item number 6 that I don't buy is the latest tech. For example, right now it is 2021 and I'm still using an iPhone 7. And honestly, it does the trick perfectly fine. It does everything I could ever need it to do and more. I run my entire business from this thing. And I know that right now Apple's on like the iPhone 12 or something crazy like that. And I just don't have a need to upgrade. And I've gone into the Apple store a couple times. They've tried to sell me on the idea and I'm not buying in, I'll tell you that much. I actually, once again, made an entire video about when it makes sense to upgrade something and when it doesn't, which I will also link up here and down there, and you can check it out. I don't have all the smart home bells and whistles. I don't have Alexa or, the Google wiretap or whatever. I just don't see a need for these things. I use what I have until they no longer work, and then I look at upgrading to the most reasonable option when I need to. Item number 7 that I don't buy is another multifaceted one, and it's Ziploc bags and Tupperware containers, plastic Tupperware containers. I just don't like these things in general, to be honest with you. I find them to be really wasteful, not only in an environmental aspect, but financially as well. You buy a box of Ziploc bags, you use them once, you throw them out, you use up the whole box, you buy them again. It seems really pointless to me, and I just find plastic Tupperware to be really icky. You put it in the microwave, it gets stained, it gets scratched, it harbors bacteria, and again, you wind up needing to throw it out. Hopefully you throw it out, but then you need to buy it again, or you just wind up using these like nasty old scratched up stained containers, and it's not my vibe. So I don't buy any like disposable food storage solutions. I have a lovely set of glass food storage containers from Anchor Hawking. They're really good quality. They don't harbor any bacteria. They don't hold any smells. They're dishwasher safe. They're microwave safe. They can go inside the oven. They do everything you need them to do. And that's what I use for all of my food storage. By going this route, I not only save a whole bunch of money, but I keep a whole bunch of plastic out of the ocean, and it's a win-win. And once again, on a similar wavelength, item number 8 that I don't buy is bottled water. I actually grew up in a household where drinking bottled water was the norm. That's what my mom bought all the time in the house, and that's just what we used. But when I moved out on my own, I made a conscious decision not to continue with that tradition, if you want to call it that. I just find it to be so pointless. Like, why would I pay money for water when I have water at home? And why would I want to drag those heavy cases of water in and out of the house, from the grocery store to the car, from the car to the house? Like, it's so annoying, and then you wind up with all these bottles and the recycling bins overflowing, and those bottles wind up like killing fish in the ocean, and it's pointless in my opinion for so many reasons. So I have a water filter built into the door of my fridge. That's the water that I drink. If I didn't have that, I would just get a Brita jug and call it a day. Saves money, saves plastic, saves effort. Win, 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 win all around. Stop buying bottled water. It's 2021 already. So the 9th thing that I don't buy is a big all-encompassing category, and it is animal products. I'm an ethical vegan. I've been a vegan for almost 5 years now, after almost 10 years or over 10 years of being vegetarian prior to that.
Good news, everyone! You don't have to eat meat. I made enough gazpacho for all.
Being vegan means that I don't eat or wear or consume or use any products that come from animals. No meat, no dairy, no eggs in my diet, no fur, no leather, no wool, no down on my body. No cosmetics or household products that have been tested on animals.
Go back to Russia!
And I mean, it's 2021. We have so many options for anything you could ever want to buy. The options are completely endless. And nowadays, there's zero excuses to be buying things that cause suffering and death to animals for no good, justifiable reason. Every time you go to the store, you are voting for what you find acceptable. You're either buying things that cause harm to animals or don't cause harm to animals. And yes, it is that black and white. It's better for the planet, it's better for your health, and most importantly, you're not paying anybody to torture animals on your behalf. The 10th thing that I don't pay for is credit card interest. I've had a credit card for over 10 years now, and I have yet to pay a single cent of interest or an annual fee or anything like that. I use my credit card exactly the way that I would with a debit card. I use it only for things that I can afford. I don't use it for things I don't have the money for, and at the end of every single month, I pay it off in full. By doing this, I've been able to stay out of debt my entire life and maintain an excellent credit score, as well as building up some cash back rewards. If you don't have a thorough understanding of how compound interest works, then you don't really get how much extra you're paying when you're paying 20% interest on a credit card purchase. Don't buy things you can't afford. Don't use credit cards like they're free money. Whatever you put on the card, pay it off in full at the end of the month and then rinse and repeat. Item number 11 that I don't buy is makeup. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't buy makeup if they like it. I've just never been into it. The only kind of makeup that I'll ever use is a little bit of cover up or a little bit of foundation. If I have like a big zit on my face, I might use something like that. But I don't wear actual makeup on a day-to-day basis. I think that from a marketing perspective, makeup as a whole is an industry that has just existed only to prey on women's insecurities, where you see a woman without makeup on and you think she looks tired, or you think she looks sick, or you think she looks ugly, but nobody thinks that when they look at a man, and it's because we've been conditioned to think that our faces need covering up.
Women will like what I tell them to like.
With that said, I know that there's people who really just enjoy putting on makeup for their own purposes, and if that's you, then you should do it, whatever you like, but for me, I just don't get the point. Maybe I'll change my mind at some point. I've never been a makeup person, and as a result, I don't buy it. The 12th thing that I don't buy are knickknacks and tacky home decor. It always makes me laugh when I go into somebody's house and they have like a live, laugh, love poster up over their couch, or they have like fake flowers or little trinkets. And all those things do, in addition to like wasting your money, is they collect dust. It becomes so much harder to clean and to keep things tidy and organized when you just have crap all over the house. And no offense, Karen, but your live, laugh, love sign isn't impressing anybody. You look like an idiot. And so I am not going to go to Walmart and find canvases to put on the wall, and I'm not going to go to, Hallmark and buy porcelain pieces of shit or whatever to leave all over my dresser. I don't buy knickknacks. I don't buy home decor kind of things. The things that decorate my house are functional things. I do have a couple plants in here, and for me, that about does it. Item number 13 that I no longer buy is fast fashion. And when I first heard the term fast fashion, my brain immediately jumped to like Walmart. I thought that that was what fast fashion was. It was like when a shitty department grocery store sells crappy clothing, that's fast fashion. And I thought, well, great. I don't shop for clothing at Walmart usually. But fast fashion is so much bigger than that, and it turns out that the most popular brands in the world are fast fashion brands. Almost every store in the mall sells fast fashion. H&M, Forever 21, Gap, Old Navy, all of these places, they're selling mass-produced, poor quality clothing that's made overseas in facilities where there's massive human rights violations, the workers are treated terribly, the clothing are low quality, they don't last, and yeah, they might be inexpensive, but you're not actually saving any money if you get 3 uses out of something and then throw it away. And so over time, I've stopped shopping at these stores and instead started investing in higher quality, more expensive pieces of clothing that actually last longer and fit better. And overall, I'm still actually saving money. I might have fewer pieces in my wardrobe, but the things I have last longer and fit better and are more comfortable, and I don't have to throw them out, so I'm actually coming out ahead at the end of the day. Item number 14 that I don't buy, have never bought, will never buy, are essential oils, diffusers, air fresheners, plugins, sprays, candles, stuff that makes your house smell like a fucking outhouse. That shit is disgusting, okay? This is gonna be controversial. Hot take alert, okay? I'm gonna piss off the internet right now. When you diffuse things in your house, I don't care if they're essential oils, I don't care if it's Febreze, I don't care if it's some Yankee Doodle candle. Your house smells disgusting. It smells like a urinal cake. It smells like the washrooms at Six Flags. Like, can we stop that shit, please? If your house smells bad and you think you need something to cover it up, you need to clean your house, not cover that smell. If your house has a smell to it, if it's mildewy, if it's moldy, if it's musty, clean your house and open a window. Your house doesn't smell like a field of flowers when you infuse some sort of bullshit hippy-dippy oil into the air. It just smells like dust and mold and hippy-dippy bullshit in the air. Item number 15 that I don't buy is holiday decor. I truthfully just don't see the purpose in buying things to decorate the inside or the outside of your house for like one specific day a year, whether that's Christmas or Halloween or whatever. And then the rest of the year, you take the shit, you pile it into a garbage bag, leave it in the basement where it collects dust. It just seems like a waste of money and a waste of effort and a waste of space. And I just think it's tacky, if I'm being totally honest with you. So not my thing, no holiday decor in my life. Item number 16 that I no longer buy are birthday cards. I'm not somebody who's ever really appreciated birthday cards. I'm not the kind of person who would put them on display or keep them. I'm not really sentimental about them. And so I've kind of just always found them to be a bit of a waste of money, but okay, fine, they're $1 or $2. Somebody buys you a gift and they give you a card. Well, birthday cards have gotten so expensive over the years. They're now like $10 on average for a card. $10 for a piece of paper with some like tacky, stupid saying in it that you're gonna sign your name to, and I just can't get behind that. So I no longer buy cards for birthdays or, Mother's Day. Even my mom would get mad at me. If I gave her a Mother's Day card that was $8, she'd be pissed that I spent $8 on a piece of paper. So if I'm buying somebody a gift, I would much rather take that extra $5 or $10 and increase the value of their gift, or take them out for a coffee or a dessert or something. Cards are another one of those things that are just such a marketing scam. It's companies like Hallmark that have, manipulated the public into thinking that, you should feel guilty if you don't buy a card for somebody. If you don't give someone a birthday card, or you don't buy your mom a Mother's Day card, or you don't buy your boyfriend or girlfriend a Valentine's Day card, that obviously you just don't love them. And that's such horseshit. It's such a waste of money, and it's such a scam, and it's such a waste of resources, because you take this card and you just fling it in the garbage, let's be honest. So no birthday cards, no greeting cards. don't bother. I won't be offended, and I hope you won't be either, because I'm not buying you one. The 17th thing that I will never buy or pay for is a brand new car. Cars are a depreciating asset, which means that the moment you drive them off the lot, they start to lose value, and they lose value and lose value and lose value, and you're basically bleeding money, particularly for the first 4 to 5 years that you own that car. Instead, I'll always opt to buy a pre-owned car that's a few years old, has already seen the majority of its depreciation happen, and still has lots and lots of life left in it. Especially if you're buying like a Honda or a Toyota, these cars can last like well over 20 years. I have no issue buying a car that's 3 or 4 or 5 years old for half the sticker price. Item number 18 that I no longer buy are new books. In the last year or two, I actually got really into reading more so than I ever have before, and I was shocked to realize how expensive books were. Like, I just didn't register that. I didn't realize. But going to the bookstore and buying a new book can easily set you back $15, $20, $25. And I found that when I'm really into it, I can go through a book in 2 or 3 days, no problem. So that's a lot of money to be chewing through at that speed. I know there's obviously the library option, and if I'm being totally honest, I don't really like libraries. I find that the books there are really overused and tattered and kind of smelly, and it's just not my thing. But what I did find is that there are local Facebook groups and different communities all over the internet where people buy books, and when they're done with them, they just give them away for free or they trade them to somebody. So you're getting a book that's been read by maybe 1 or 2 other people maximum, and it's still in new condition, and when you're done with it, you can either give it away again, you can trade it for something new, or you can sell it or do whatever. So I get a lot of books for free in that sense, or I'll go and I'll buy them used off Facebook Marketplace from somebody who bought them brand new just a few weeks prior, and instead of paying like $20, I might pay like $5. Alrighty, so we're getting down this list. Item number 19 that I don't buy or pay for and never have and probably never will are ride shares. I've actually never been in an Uber or a Lyft in my life. And the reason for that is that I have a car. And if you don't have a car, I totally realize at this point it doesn't apply to you. That's fair, that's fine, you gotta do what you gotta do. But as somebody who has a car, I've just never seen the need to get into an Uber. My understanding is that people use them predominantly to go places when they're planning on drinking excessively, and that's not something that I do either. It's never been my vibe to go out and get drunk. So if I'm going somewhere, I would much rather drive myself there, be responsible, be mature, drink water, and drive my own ass home than go and spend like $20, $30, $40 on drinks and then another $20 or $30 on an Uber and then go home and puke out all my money. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So no Ubers for me. And finally, item number 20 that I don't pay for is a gym membership. That's probably a pretty obvious one if you look at me. I have the physique of a green bean, but it's just never really been an interest of mine to join a gym. If I'm going to exercise, my favorite way to do that is to take my dog for a really nice long walk, and we go at a pretty vigorous pace, and we'll go several kilometers easily, but I just find the fresh air to be the best part of that, and the spending time with him to be the best part of that, and just the peace and quiet. It's almost a meditative experience for me, and I suppose different people have different fitness goals. If you're trying to build muscle or lose weight, going to a gym might make a lot of sense for you. But for me, my exercise goals are more so for my mental health, and I find that I benefit a lot more from being outside, being with my best buddy, and just taking it easy rather than being in like this sweaty, stinky place with techno beats going boom, 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 boom in your head, because that's just not for me. Many years ago, I did do a trial run at a gym. I think I went once with a trial membership, and it was a total disaster because I'm clueless and I don't know what I'm doing. I don't even own gym clothing, so I went in skinny jeans. I'm sure everybody was looking at me like I'm a weirdo, but that's all I own. And I really just wanted to go for a walk. It was wintertime here in Toronto. It was freezing cold, and I was like, all right, I'm just gonna get on the treadmill. So I got on the treadmill, and I had nobody there to help me or to teach me what I was doing, and I just hit the button that said walk, and it was really, really slow because I like to walk very vigorously, and I kept hitting the arrow to increase the speed, and it wasn't making a difference. It was like 2 miles an hour, and as a Canadian, we use kilometers. I don't even really know how fast 1 mile per hour is. I have no idea. So I hit up, and I was at 3, and it was still pretty slow, and I hit 5, and it was still pretty slow, so I hit 10. Well, it turns out that 10 miles an hour is very fast, and I didn't have the safety belt on because I forgot that there even was one. I didn't even know about that. And so there I am on the treadmill going 10 miles an hour in my jeans without any safety belt on, and all I could hear were my feet slapping the treadmill as I tried not to die until I finally hit the emergency stop, and that concluded my experiences at a gym. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please go ahead and hit the like button. I'm pretty new here on YouTube, and every like I get helps me out tremendously, and I really appreciate it. Drop me a comment down below and let me know what you thought of my list of 20 things I don't buy. Let me know if any of it resonates with you, and let me know some of the things that you've stopped buying recently. If you haven't already done so, please go ahead and consider subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate it. I'd love to have you around. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.